All right, good morning, everybody. This is Nicole Whitlock with Ecom Sellers, and this is our weekly ecom planning session. So, in our weekly ecom planning session, we're actually planning for next week, the things that we're going to do in our business, the actions we're going to take, possibly the things we're going to sell, things we're going to do product research on, things that we're going to list. So, this session is every Saturday in the morning at around 7:30. I'm cooking in the crock pot this morning, so I had to run downstairs and make sure everything was ready to go. So we're about 5 minutes late, and I apologize for that. But in any case, during our weekly ecom planning session, what we need to do is, if you haven't had a chance yet, go and download the weekly checklist directly in the e-commerce planning Facebook group. And you can go to the file section, and then in the file section, go and look for the weekly checklist. While you're at it, you can download the daily checklist, and you can also download the monthly checklist. So, my passion is helping people on their e commerce journey, helping them to get organized, get focused, get structured, and helping them make decisions that are going to actually uh, help them to reach their goals, move the needle, making intentional decisions every single day. So, during the weekly ecom planning session, we go through the checklist and we use that to help us to make decisions on what we're going to do in our business. Tomorrow, we'll be actually going through the monthly ecom planning session where we plan for the month of June, since June is knocking at our door. So, we want to finish strong in May. In addition to that, we also plan for the next quarter because at the end of June, if quarter three starts July 1st. So, tomorrow is going to be an important session, so join us tomorrow, hopefully, if you have the opportunity. And again, you can go download the monthly ecom planning checklist directly in the e-commerce planning Facebook group. Just go to the file section and download the monthly. So here we go, guys. I am live on Clubhouse. I'm also live in the e-commerce planning Facebook group. I don't know what's going on with Facebook, so we may or may not be live there. I may have to reshare this back out. We're definitely live on the Ecom Sellers Academy fan page if we're not live in the Facebook group. Sometimes Facebook does its own thing, and then also sometimes this Melon app does its own thing. So if you haven't already done so, download the checklist. We're going to start with the planning side of this activity before we get into the actual weekly planning. So, the weekly planning template is what we are going to be building. If you haven't already built one, that's the ultimate goal today, is to build the weekly planning template. But before we start building the weekly plan, we got to know what activities we're going to do, what actions we're going to take in our business. So, I like to start off with four basic goals or four basic activities that you're going to be performing in your business as you go through this exercise of planning for next week. Some of them are things that you're going to be executing every single day. Some of them are things you're going to be executing throughout the week, like once a week or a couple of times a week. So, and this may also occur in your monthly planning. On that weekly planning checklist, there's a whole bunch of other goal setting type strategies as well. So you can use those to help you make decisions as you go through this journey. So the first thing we're going to scroll to, I think this is like page 7 of this, 6. Sorry, I was close. Page 6. And on page 6, it has the types of goals or activities you're going to implement to increase your productivity and to gain consistency in your business. If you are not being consistent in your e-commerce business, this is always going to be, this is where your challenges are, where you're not making the progress that you want to make, you're not getting the sales you want to get. And I think that everything that you do as an e-commerce seller, it's universal. There's some basic activities that all sellers are doing. All sellers, regardless of whether you're doing drop shipping, wholesale, print on demand, retail or online arbitrage, private label, white label, all sellers have to create listings, right? Every seller has to create a listing. Otherwise, you're not selling anything. So, all sellers, online sellers, we all create listings. All sellers have some level of a shipping related activity or action that's happening in our business. Every single seller, whether you're shipping it yourself or you've got an automated shipping process or you're drop shipping it, so there's an integration, there's some kind of shipping component to your business. All sellers are doing product research, whether they're doing deep product research or shallow product research. We're all doing some level of product research. What are we going to sell? What are we going to sell? Go do some quick research, or let's actually be intentional and do some deep research. All sellers are doing sourcing. You got to get your inventory from somewhere. So we're all sourcing our inventory, even those that are doing print on demand. Like you decided on your print on demand provider. And so that is your source. Whatever they've got available, that's what you're using. So sourcing is an action that we all do. All sellers have an activity or action around customer service. Again, doesn't matter. We're all engaging in some level of customer service, whether you've outsourced that and somebody else is handling your customer service or you're doing it yourself. Everyone has some customer service activities as they have to do in their business. And then everyone should have, I don't know, some people don't avoid this like the plague. You should have administrative activities that you're doing in your business. So, regardless of your e-commerce method, there's some things that everybody is doing, regardless of what platform they sell on and what method of e-commerce. So we're going to step through some of the goal setting techniques or strategies you can use that should be universal for all sellers. So the first one is setting mini habits or mini goals. Mini habits, mini goals are two things. They serve two purposes. One, it helps you to build a habit or a routine that you don't currently have in place. So if one of the things that you struggle with is creating listings consistently, like maybe you're not always creating listings. Maybe you're random about creating your listings. Like maybe I'll create some listings on Monday and then maybe next Saturday, and then I go 2 weeks, I don't create any more listings. Or maybe you create listings every single day. Maybe you're intentional about that. If you're already intentional about it, then you've built the habit of creating listings. So you don't need to potentially build that habit. Maybe you're at the place where you're only creating 1 or 2 listings. And so if you are, maybe you're working to build up to creating 10 listings a day or 20 listings a day. So you can use a mini habit or mini goal to help you achieve that. Using a mini habit or mini goal is establishing a habit or establishing a goal that is small enough that it is easy to attain. It's easy to complete. It's easy to perform. So an example would be creating 1 listing a day. If you are not creating listings at all consistently, like at all, then creating 1 listing a day is the first step to being consistent. If you feel like that's the thing that's going to move the needle in your business, then you need to get used to creating 1 listing, at least 1 a day. So if you establish a mini goal or mini habit of creating 1 listing a day, and you continue that, execute that for 2 weeks, then after 2 weeks are up, you can say, okay, now I want to create 3 listings a day. Okay, so then you execute that for 3 weeks, 2 weeks, and you create 3 listings every single day without fail, no matter what. Then you get to 5 listings a day, and then you get to 7 listings a day, then you get to 10 listings a day. So incrementally over time, you have actually reached your goal of being consistent about creating listings. Now it is a habit, it's a routine, and now you've established that. So if you haven't established any habits, look at your business, look at your life. What are the things that you need to do to incrementally over time, like just establish something that is easy to attain? Another one that's easy to attain is maybe right now, you feel like you don't take enough breaks, you don't get out and you go for a walk and you really want to start walking, but you're very random about it. You're very inconsistent. So again, establishing a mini habit or a mini goal of just walking every single day, no matter what, getting out there and walking for at least 5 minutes. Well, 5 minutes is easy to attain. You're not going to struggle to do that. So walking for at least 5 minutes a day, then you get to, maybe you increase it to 10 minutes every single day. Maybe you increase it to 15 minutes. Then maybe you increase it to half a mile. Then you increase it to a mile. And so you gradually over time, build up the routine of just walking for 5 minutes, or maybe 1 week. And then week 2, 10 minutes. Then week 3, every single day, 15 minutes. And then, week 4, maybe you're a mile or half a mile. So that way you're gradually implementing and executing this over time. The other thing is, because it's so easy to attain, then you get momentum and you feel like you've achieved something. Because again, you're just building the routine, the habit of just doing this action on a regular, more consistent basis. And it's something that you can track. Okay, so that's mini habits, mini goals, something that is too small, too easy to fail, that you'll easily be able to achieve. The next one is habit stacking. If you think of habit stacking as routines, so I think that's the easiest way to think of habit stacking. It is, what are the things that you can do in succession or together that are associated with each other that is that makes sense, that you put them in a sequential order. Okay, so an example would be creating listings. So if it's taking you forever to create listings, maybe you're spending an hour creating listings, and you're like, I don't understand how people do this e-commerce thing because it takes me forever just to create one listing. Should it take you an hour? No, I mean, over time, it shouldn't take you an hour to create a listing. But regardless of what platform you're on or what method of e-commerce, it shouldn't take you an hour. So there could be things about your entire process of creating listings that is actually dragging it out. It's drawing it out and making longer than it needs to be. So let's evaluate that entire routine. Let's evaluate all of the actions and activities that you're executing just to get a listing up. So, you've got to create a title. There's got to be a description. There's got to be images. So those are given. And what is your process around creating a title, creating a description, getting the images? What is your routine? Okay. So if you're a person that you're about to create a listing and you sit down in front of your computer, and let's say the stuff that you're about to list is in like different places. Maybe you got it some in the den, some in your office, some in the living room. Maybe something's by the front door. Maybe your first thing that you could potentially improve in this process is making sure that all your inventory is in one place, not all over the place. That might be your first thing. So put it in one centralized location. That might help you execute this a little faster. Number two, maybe your inventory, you don't already have pictures for your inventory. So if you're going out and doing retail arbitrage, it might make sense for you to prep the inventory as soon as you come in the door, put it in one centralized location, and go ahead and either take the stickers off, the labels off, clean it up, if you're doing thrifting as well, and take the pictures of it right then. Just save them. That's it. Just take the pictures. You're ready to go. Because the ultimate goal is to sit down in front of the computer and burn through creating listings. So if I am creating listings in rapid succession, I could take all these little things that I do that are part of this listing activity and fix them, streamline them, automate them, do them in advance, so that when I do sit in front of the computer, it is all about data entry, data entry, data entry. And at that point, I'll be able to actually create listings faster because I've gotten rid of all the things that cause me to start the process. Then I got to stop and I got to take pictures, or I got to stop and I got to go find the inventory. Then I sit down again and I get started again. And then I got to stop and I got to take all the stickers off of something. And then I got to take the picture. Okay. So then I clean it up and then take the picture. Then I got to, and I start listing again. And I got to stop and I got to go do the keyword research. And then after I do the keyword research, I got to make sure I got all the information for the description. And then I go back to listing. And then, so I'm going back to my computer and I'm starting the process of typing again. So before you know it, you stopped and started, stopped and started, stopped and started, stopped and started about 20 times before this listing is created. So no wonder it's taking you an hour. Are there things that you're doing in that listing activity that you can simplify or streamline or automate or outsource? So making sure you understand everything that's involved in creating a listing first is the basics. I never would outsource anything that I don't already understand. That's number one. But number two, making sure that you're looking at every single piece of the listing routine to see where I have opportunities to improve it, streamline it, make it better. That is important. And then taking all of those pieces. So if you need to think of it like an assembly line, and you have to lay down each piece of that activity as a line item in an assembly line for a factory. The first piece, the second piece, the third piece, what are those actions that you're performing? Some people, when they create listings, they do them in a specific order, do the activities in a specific order. But you're always going to need a title. You're always going to need a description. You're always going to need images. You're always going to need a price. You're always going to need to know how much you're going to ship this thing for. What, maybe even you need to know the dimensions because that's part of the listing, and the weight, because you need that to figure out what your shipping situation is going to be. How am I going to ship this thing? And then in some cases, where am I going to ship this to, depending on what platform you sell on and what your method of e-commerce is. So do what you can to streamline that so you reduce the number of stops and starts, stops and starts and stops and starts along the way. Same thing with like maybe your morning routine or your evening routine with your kids. If your morning routine or evening routine is taking you 2 hours, what can you do to improve it, streamline it, automate it so that way that entire routine, there's a whole bunch of little sub steps. There's sub steps in creating a listing, there's sub steps in your morning and evening routine. What are the things that you could be doing to streamline that and make it go a little bit faster and a little bit better? I'm confident that there are some areas of opportunity that maybe you're zigzagging through your house. And so before you know it, as you document your process, it looks like a scatter diagram. So let's see what we can do to make sure that everything that we do in that evening routine or bedtime routine is simplified, or morning routine is simplified, and in some opportunities automated, so that you don't have to go back and do them again. If you're backtracking back and forth around your house just to get the kids in bed and it's taking you 2 hours, let's get it down to 30 minutes so you can buy back an hour and a half of your time to put that hour and a half somewhere else. Invest it in your business, invest it in something else. So that is habit stacking. That is the, going through and looking at every piece of everything that you're doing in a specific action or routine that you could potentially improve over time, streamline, automate, make better. The next one is time blocks. You're going to establish some time blocks. Maybe, I don't know. Some people like checklists, but for me, it's all about time blocks. And time blocks is dedicating a specific set amount of time to an action or activity. So maybe you have a dedicated amount of time that you invest in listing. Maybe you have a dedicated amount of time that you invest in shipping, maybe shipping related activities, whatever that happens to be. Maybe you have a dedicated amount of time that you invest in sourcing. Instead of doing a bunch of random things together and not having any focused time. So at the end of an hour or 2 hours, you've done like 3 or 4 different activities that if you had focused on just one of those for during that hour, you actually probably would have made maybe better decisions. You would have taken better actions and you would have made more progress. So, product research is potentially one of those. We're going to talk about product research in our monthly planning session. And being intentional about what you do to do product research, that's going to drive what your next actions are. Because again, you got to go research products. Then after you research, what are the products that are potentially going to sell or solve a problem or that are going to be in demand, then you got to source, where do I find those products? And then after you find, where do I find those products, then you got to start the process of, either acquiring or listing those products, depending on your method of e-commerce. So product research is important because that can potentially drive the kind of revenue and income or the consistent sales that you make over time. So pay attention to product research. Pay attention to what's involved there. And you don't need to be working on 3 different things at the same time. Focus on one thing at a time, even if it's 30 minutes, and then move on to the next action that may be paired with it. So product research might be one, and then right after you finish that for 30 minutes, then you go to sourcing. I found the product. I know which products are in demand. Now I'm going to source those products. Okay. If you don't like time blocks, and some people don't, they don't want to account for where they're spending their time, where they're investing their time in the day, then you might create to-do lists or checklists, and that's fine. For those who are overwhelmed by having every hour of their day accounted for and where they're spending it, and it just feels overwhelming if you missed an hour and then you're anxious and it creates anxiety for you, then time blocks may not be for you, accounting for every 30 minutes or hour in your day. If you're a person that's procrastinating, wasting time, and you're struggling to get focused, then time blocks might work for you. Okay. It may get you started on that journey. Initially, you might fail a few times. It's okay. But over time, you will get better at this journey. So, checklists, to-do lists, they make you feel a little more comfortable. Checking off activities or actions that you're performing in your business. So it feels like you have a sense of accomplishment and you're getting some momentum in your activities and your actions. So when you feel like you're making progress on something, you're achieving something, you're marking things off your list, then you're more likely to continue moving forward. You continue working on that thing. And that's a good thing. So you may have to-do lists or you may have checklists for next week, and that's fine. Just, we're going to identify maybe what those are, or you'll write that down, is that's one that you're going to use in your planning And then the last one that we're going to talk about is SMART goals, something that is specific, measurable, achievable, or attainable, realistic or relevant, timely or time bound. So a SMART goal might be you have a goal of becoming $1 million seller. That's over a year. So if over a year you want to become $1 million seller, let's break down what are my weekly acts, or what are my quarterly actions, monthly actions, weekly actions, daily actions to get to that $1 million seller status. So we're going to take that $1 million and we're going to divide it by the remaining number of quarters in the year, months in the year, divided by the number of weeks in the year, days in the year, to come up with what our daily goal is, what our weekly goal is, what our monthly goal is, quarterly goal, so that we know at the end of a year, this is what I need to be doing every single day to get to that $1 million status. It gives you something to work towards. So it is very specific. Okay. It's measurable. You'll know at the end of the day whether or not you did or did not achieve that goal. You'll know immediately. You'll also know at the end of the week whether or not you did or did not achieve that goal. You'll know at the end of the month. It's attainable or achievable, depends on your method of e-commerce. If you're a person that is only working 1 hour a day in your e-commerce business and you're expecting to be $1 million seller, unless you've automated a bunch of stuff, that may not be an attainable or a realistic goal for you. You maybe, if you're a solopreneur and you're just starting on the journey, you've got a bunch of work to do in order to establish the habits and the routines to even get to that place where you could work your business 1 hour a day. Now, can you work your business 1 hour a day and become $1 million seller? Again, it depends on what method of e-commerce you're doing, what your products are, and what the demand is for that product. It depends. For some people, they find that ideal private label product and they sell that first one. And then once they get the momentum on that, then they sell the next one. But they're not spending 1 hour. They're probably spending a few hours every single day. It may be 3 hours a day, 5 hours a day. For some, it's 8 hours a day. Just doing that process and rinsing and repeating. So again, it's intentional. So you have to establish SMART goals in order to achieve that. Create something or create a goal that is specific, measurable, achievable, or attainable, realistic, relevant, timely, or time bound. That's the goal. So now that we know what goals, now let's step through our weekly planning checklist. So in the weekly planning checklist, there's multiple steps that we're going to execute. And we're going to start with just building a weekly template, because that weekly template is going to give us our guide for the week on what we're going to do, what are the actions we're going to take in our business to achieve our goals. That's ultimately what we're doing. Okay. So with the weekly template, it's an outline. It's an outline of what I'm doing every single day and in the week in order to achieve my goals. You can actually use a couple of things to help you build your weekly template if you have not ever built a template before. You can use Google Sheets. I love Google Sheets. If you have a Gmail account, you click on the Rubik's Cube in the upper right-hand corner. I call it the 9 dots. The Rubik's Cube is what I call it. And when you click on that, click on Drive. So from your Gmail account, click on the Rubik's Cube, the 9 dots, and then click on the word Drive. And then once you go to Drive, on the left-hand side of the screen, upper left-hand side of the screen, there's going to be a plus sign. And you click on the plus sign and click on Sheets. Google Sheets are just like Excel, very similar in how they work, how you use them. So they are easy to use. The great thing about Google Sheets is that you can access them from anywhere. So if you're going on vacation because it's the summertime, you can access your Google Sheets from wherever. If you got a mobile device, even if you have an iPhone, you just download all the Google apps and you'll be able to access it. It's stored on the cloud, so yeah, it makes it easy. Makes it very easy to use. So the first thing is, figure out what you're going to do. If you've got an ecom planner, you can actually do your weekly planning session inside of your ecom planner. There's a section area where you can do that there. Okay. The next thing, I'm going to get a cough drop. The next thing is, once you decide whether you're going to use Google Sheets or whether you're going to use your ecom planner to fill this in, then we're going to do what's called a brain dump. So on your Google Sheet, at the very, very bottom, there's worksheet number 1. If you click on the plus next to the words worksheet number one or sheet number one, you can add a second worksheet. So you can use worksheet number one to do your brain dump, and then worksheet number two to organize your brain dump or organize your thoughts. Okay. So, what are we doing a brain dump on? Well, we're going to go through the process of doing a brain dump on several different things. One, what are the things we're already doing every single week in the business or in our personal lives, and when are we doing it? Okay. So, if you're already doing sourcing, when are you already doing that? Now, we're not trying to change your routine or your habit, because if we do, then you're going to go against the grain. And then if you go against the grain, it's going to be difficult to execute, because your brain is, your body and everything about you is going to struggle to fight it, because your body and your mind does not like change. When it has a routine that it does and it likes to keep that routine in place. It doesn't want to build a new one. So we're working to force it to build a new one, and our nature is going to go against the grain. Our nature is going to be fighting everything we want to do. An example of that is a New Year's resolution. Like every single time people start that process of establishing a New Year's resolution, I'm going to go to the gym, and I'm going to do that every single day. Okay, so they might start off strong January 1st, January 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. They're still going strong. Maybe the 7th, there's a hiccup in the road. This wasn't a routine that you had previously had established. So there's an interruption, there's a break in the pattern, there's a break in the routine, there's a disruption, there's an excuse. Maybe. So now you're not going to the gym. You missed one. It's just one time. Let me get back up on that horse. Tomorrow I'm going to the gym. So you go to the gym, you make it through 3 days, and then there's another disruption, interruption, or an excuse. And then that continues repetition over time, so that at some point there's a boatload of interruptions, disruptions, or excuses, and you're no longer going to the gym every single day. So you'll notice that the gym is packed January 1st or January, and partially packed in February. And by March, everyone's gone. And then about April, everybody gets desperate again, because summer swimsuit season is coming. So they go back to the gym again. And then about June, they no longer go to the gym. And they don't go to the gym the rest of the time until maybe December or January, and it starts to cycle again. So, writing down things you already do is going to help you kind of solidify that routine or action or activity, because we're not going to go against the grain. We're going to do what you're normally or naturally doing. So for me, I naturally do food prep on Saturday. I just do it. It's every Saturday for me. I do meal prepping for the entire week. It makes my life a whole lot easier if I do that, so I don't have to stop and cook throughout the week. Again, that is a break in my routine. I'm trying to buy time back. So what can I do? I got to streamline other processes, other areas of my life in order to buy time back. I don't want to be in the kitchen every single day. Being in the kitchen every single day for an hour to an hour and a half, that's how many hours in the week have I spent in the kitchen? That's 7 hours, 8 hours. Do I want to do that every day and then doing dishes? No, I'm not interested in any part of that at all. So I'm going to load up the crock pot, load up the Instapot, load up the oven, so that way I don't have to spend all week in the kitchen. I've got at least 4 or 5 meals that are already prepped, and I don't have to think about it. Same thing with other routines that you already have established. So if you're already sourcing on Tuesdays and Thursdays and Saturdays, I'm not trying to break that for you. Keep it. If it's serving you well, it's doing good things, and it's making your life a lot easier, keep it. If you create listings every night at 10 o'clock at night or 11 o'clock at night, or you create them every morning at 6 o'clock in the morning, keep it. I'm not trying to break that routine. Keep it. So write down the things you're already doing in your business and when you're doing them. All those things that are already happening. Number 2, write down all the things you need to be doing in your business. You really must be doing. So for some people on that need or must list is probably doing the administrative task of their business. Okay. There's a lot of stuff under administrative, and they're just avoiding it like the plague. Like, someday I'm not going to have to deal with the IRS. Or maybe there's some things that you need to be doing with your kids, but you're just avoiding it because there's always something else that you feel like is more important. And then at some point it becomes an emergency and you're in reactionary mode. So instead of living a life of anxiety because at some point the bill comes due, why don't we go ahead and write down the things that we really need to be doing in our business, but we're currently not? Okay, so we're going to put that on the brain dump and put a need column. So we've got on our first spreadsheet, these are just our brain dump. We maybe have a column for already do, and maybe a column next to that is when I already do those. Then put a space and then another column number 4. We're going to write down the things that we need or must do. And then we'll put a when next to that one, like WHEN. And then put another space. And then the next one is the things you want to do every single week. These are things that you just don't find the time. You feel like you want to do every single week. And again, this is not just from your business standpoint. This is also from your life standpoint, because we're ultimately, hopefully, going to use this routine or this schedule that we're building, these plans that we're building, to help us have a more efficiently run life. So feel like we get more stuff done in a day over time. So what are the things you already do, need to do, want to do in your life and in your business? Make sure you have those, at least those 3 columns. Next to those, you can have when you're doing them, and then start filling them in. Okay, filling in the brain dump for what you need to do and what you want to do. You're just going to write them down in a column form, right up under the other. We are not going to organize them just yet. We're just doing a brain dump. And then as we're thinking about this, we're talking about our business. Yeah, we're going to come back and talk about the business. But think about the things that you already do maybe in your spiritual life. If you're already going to church on Wednesdays, doing Wednesday Bible study, put it on the list. If you're already going to the gym every single morning, put that on the list. If you already get up and you do meditation every single morning, or you read your Bible every morning, put that on the list, because that's taking up time. If you're already like maybe you have allergies and so you have to go to the allergy doctor for the next year or 2 years to get a shot every day, or 5 days a week or 1 day a week. Okay, put it on your list. It's something that's part of your established routine. It's something you got to do. I mentioned meal prepping. We do meal prepping on Sundays. So I don't know what's happening. I do meal prepping on Saturday, sorry. And on Sunday, like, we work at our e-commerce business, but Fridays we go out and we do some retail arbitrage and online arbitrage and stuff I already do. I also spend the time to just hang out with my boys and engage in activities with my boys. So again, what are those things that you're already doing in your life and in your business, and write those things down. If you have tennis practice every Saturday morning, write it down. Just write them all down. These are things I already do. We're trying to reorganize our lives and get more organized, more structured, more consistent, to make more progress. So improve our productivity. So when it comes to your business, what are those components? Let's talk about those things that are part of this dump of activities that we're doing. So the first one is sourcing. You got some sourcing related activities that you're doing in your business. You may not be thinking about it, but it is sourcing that you're doing. You're acquiring inventory. In most cases, not every method of e-commerce requires you to acquire inventory. Like print on demand, you're not really acquiring the inventory. You just figured out who you're going to do or run your print on demand business with. So you're going to partner with. So sourcing, when I'm thinking about sourcing the things that I'm going to buy, I think about the things that are replenishables or consumables. I think about the holidays, the events, the seasonal stuff that's coming up. I think about what are things that are coming up in the next 2 to 20 weeks when I'm going through my sourcing activities. And so, again, that is an activity you should be engaging in your business. If it's not on your list, sourcing should be on your list. And maybe there's some subcategories underneath sourcing. That means, sourcing for the next, 20 weeks. You got to buy inventory. So you probably should be checking with the wholesale supplier that you're buying your inventory from, to find out what their volumes are and what they're going to have available. Maybe you're ordering inventory now for Q4. So again, you're sourcing for that inventory now. You're placing your orders now. so that it is here in time. And some people may not be doing that in advance. Maybe they are just doing it just in time. And so that may be something that over time you want to change that so that you're doing some advanced planning for your sourcing. So sourcing activities should be on your list. Okay. And there could be some sub activities underneath sourcing that are related to that. But you need to figure out, are these things you're already doing, things that you need to be doing, or things that you want to do? Maybe you're already sourcing, but you want to source more frequently, or you want to source in advance, and maybe you're just sourcing, 2 weeks in advance, and you really want to source 2 months in advance or the next quarter or whatever. So you want to change up your sourcing game. You want to add more to it. Um, the next one is research related activities. Everyone's doing that. So you should have research on your list. Whether it is product research, listing research, keyword research, you're doing some level of research. So that's an activity that you're engaging in probably, hopefully every week. I hope you're doing it every week in your business. So you got to create listings. If you're not creating listings daily, that's fine. Maybe your model does not require you to create listings every single day. Um, you got to do some product research. Again, maybe your model doesn't require you to do that every single day. And then keyword research. Keyword research is always important because you can always improve existing listings. You've got to think of keywords when you're creating new listings. So that one's an important one. But again, we're not saying that they're doing this every single day, but somewhere throughout the week, you're engaging in maybe these activities. So you should have research related activities, and then sub activities underneath that might be keyword research, listing research, product research. Are you already doing that? If so, when are you doing it? If you're not already doing it, you think you need to be doing it, or you should be doing it, put it down under one of those columns. These are things we're going to intentionally make time for next week. Listing activities. I mentioned listing before. So there's different components of this listing activity, but it is an activity that you've got to do. So in this listing activity, writing down, all the sub activities that may be part of that listing activity, or if you're already doing it, if you're already creating listings, when are you already doing that? If that time slot or that time period is serving you well and you like to keep it that way, put it under the already do. Okay. Shipping related activities, whether you are shipping directly yourself, seller fulfilled, merchant fulfilled, whether you are using a third party fulfillment center, or whether you're sending it into the Amazon warehouse or the Walmart warehouse. What's happening in your business and when are these things happening? Or are you checking because you've got integrations in place to fulfill the orders? Is there a period in time in which your wholesale pallets normally come in, or your inventory comes in, and then you've got to audit it and label it and ship it back out to wherever, ship it out to your fulfillment center or your prep center, or ship it out to Amazon? So are you going through and doing any type of shipping audits throughout the week to confirm the shipments are going out? Because every once in a while, whoever you're normally shipping with, there might be hiccups in the road. So do you do some spot checking throughout the week? If so, when do you already do that? If you're not, should you be doing it? Do you want to start doing it? Do you need to start doing it? So again, putting it in the right column. Administrative tasks are so much. There's a lot. So hold on just 1 second. Okay, so now we're on to administrative activities. So, are you currently running reports on the different platforms? If you're doing it once a week, that's fine. Are you doing it daily? There might be some reports that are valid to print off daily or to run daily. Are you, filing your taxes? That's not something you do every single day. But at the end of each month, depending on where you live, you got some monthly stuff to do. Are you reconciling your bank account, reconciling your budget, balancing your budget, creating a budget? Tracking expenses and receipts. Are you doing that? Daily, weekly? When are you doing that? Or are you doing it at all? Is it something you need to do, should do, want to do? Um, are you creating standard operating procedures if you're planning on scaling up, outsourcing some stuff, giving it to a VA? Do you have procedures in place, an administrative task? That's sitting down and documenting those action steps so that you can give that job away to somebody else. Are you going through, do you have a repricer, or are you going through and adjusting your prices? And are you checking the repricer? So again, reviewing that process. Or is it something you should do, want to do, need to do? Write it down. Analyzing your data, reviewing your stats, checking for expiration dates. These are all things, depending on your method of e-commerce and the products that you sell, there's some administrative tasks. And the question is, are you already doing everything you need to be doing in your business? And if you are, fantastic. There's nothing for you to add. But if you're not, this is your opportunity to say, I really should have a habit around looking at this thing right here every single day when it comes to administrative stuff, or at least once a week. And that's fine. Write it down, put it under the need or put it under the want column. Customer service, handling customer questions, returns, reviews, refunds. Are you doing that? Some of these are just checking every day. Maybe you outsource it over time to a VA. So that's a standard operating procedure you create under your administrative tasks. And then eventually you audit what the VA is doing just to make sure they're doing it right. Or do you handle all the refunds, returns yourself and deal with the reviews? Do you deal with all that yourself? So the question becomes, are you engaging in any customer service related activities? If your routine is to get up and spending the first 15 minutes of the day just looking for questions for your customers, that's fantastic. You've already established it. It's something you already do. If it's serving you well and it's not sucking up all your time, that's fantastic. Maybe, just maybe, you want to outsource that to a VA so you can get that 15 minutes back every day. Again, you can put that under your want to do. You want to outsource the customer service side of your business. And I'm not saying all of it, just maybe aspects of it. The next one is education activities. This one I feel like is an opportunity that people overlook all the time. We are in May. June is coming up, and before we know it, we will be in Q4. Believe it or not, it's coming. So, customer service is, the education is, are there things that you need to do better right now that you're doing in your business, but you really feel like you're really not executing it well, you're not doing it well, you don't know enough about it to do it right? So, where are your opportunities to find things that you could be doing better in your business? Could you get better at keyword research? Could you get better at sourcing? Could you get better at listing? Could you get better at um, running your reports? Are there things that you could get better at? Could you get better at creating ads? I don't know. You know those things. Are there things that you need to understand better? Maybe there's some reports. Maybe you only run 3 reports from the platform that you sell on, and that's it. And you don't run any other reports. So that's it. So there's other reports that are available, but you have never taken the time to better understand what's available. Because if you take the time to understand what's available, they don't just create those reports just for the sake of creating those reports. A lot of the times, those reports can be used to help you make better buying decisions, better sourcing decisions, better listing decisions, better, timing decisions. But you're not running those reports. So maybe there's an opportunity for you to learn about those reports. The other thing is there a skill that you need to develop or get better at? So that maybe you don't do Facebook ads, maybe you don't do Instagram ads, maybe you don't do any of these other ads, TikTok, whatever, YouTube ads, Google. So maybe you need to get better at that. Maybe you need to learn how to create Facebook ads. Maybe you need to learn how to create Instagram ads, Twitter ads, whatever. Not Twitter, sorry. Well, maybe Twitter. I don't know. Depends. Maybe is there audience there? So education, I think, is one that people overlook as an opportunity to be able to source products and sell products. If that's one that you feel like, you're probably right, I could learn some of this stuff. I could get better at some of this stuff. Put it down. Put it under your need to do or want to do. If you're intentional already about making time to learn something new every single week, that's great. But if you're not, make time for that. And then as we get into the monthly planning, this is your opportunity to think about this on a grander scale. What if you spent the entire month of June, every single week, learning something about Facebook ads? Not spending a boatload of time on it, just dedicating maybe an hour or 2 hours of an intentional, focused time on Facebook ads. So if it's 1 hour at the end of a month, you will have spent 4 hours on just learning how to do Facebook ads. How does that action impact your fourth quarter? Don't answer that yet, just a second. And as you're learning about Facebook ads, so if you, let's say you put that activity or action on your calendar that you're about to create your schedule, your weekly schedule on Sundays, that means that you can implement or execute that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So you're literally learning something and executing it immediately. What happens too often is that we buy these training courses or we go through this training and then we learn this stuff, but we never use it. We never execute it. So we never apply it. Now you have the opportunity, maybe making intentional decisions. You'll have the opportunity to intentionally apply it throughout the week. So if you feel like Facebook ads are going to move the needle in your business, make the decision that, hey, I am going to actually learn how to get better at Facebook ads, period. The other one might be Google ads. So you do that in June. Let's say in July, you spent the month of July getting better at Instagram ads. What's that going to do to your business? What's that going to do to Q4? So now you've gotten incrementally better at Facebook ads. You've gotten incrementally better at Instagram ads in July. What if in August you focus on learning Google ads or getting better at Google ads? So you spend that month getting better at Google ads. Again, we're working towards Q4. And then the next month, September, you work on YouTube ads or TikTok or whatever. So, or Pinterest, whatever. So by the time you get to Q4, you will have gotten better at Facebook ads, Instagram ads, Google ads, YouTube ads, and all of those will build on top of each other by making the decision to invest 1 hour every single day throughout the week. Every single week, 1 hour, and you invest that time, it's going to change what your Q4 looks like. Your numbers are going to gradually get better automatically because of the fact that you're getting better at this space. You're getting better at ads. So that is an example of taking that time to invest in yourself to get better at something. I'm not saying just go out there to the YouTube vortex and just get sucked in by watching a whole bunch of YouTube videos over and over again. And then again, you're not applying anything that you've learned. You're just watching videos, so you're taking in content and not doing anything with it. The objective here is to do something with the content. Or maybe you bought a training program, it's just sitting on the shelf. So I think you should have dedicated time every single week to focus on your education. It doesn't have to be a huge time block. It needs to be a small time block, but it needs to be focused time. And then you need to make the decision on what it is you're going to focus on. Okay? That will move the needle in your business. Trust me. Over time, it will. Think about keyword research or product research. Like right now, let's say you're not really good at keyword research and you want to get better at it. Make the decision that you're going to incrementally get better at it. Okay. So the next one is marketing or traffic activities. So maybe there's marketing or traffic activities that you're not doing in your business right now, and you feel like you need to start doing or you want to start doing in your business. Or maybe there's stuff you're already doing. And if you are, fantastic. Some of those things might be, sending your listings through Pingler or Ping Farm, doing social sharing, so sharing it out on the different platforms, cross-listing your products, maybe not. Well, cross-listing would go under listing, but yeah. Writing a blog to drive more traffic organically, sending out marketing emails or sending out emails, promotional emails, coupons, running ads or sales, that kind of stuff. Then optimizing your listings. So maybe that's something you can do, partnering with influencers, and then, going through and doing paid ads and paid campaigns. So if you don't have a lot of money, the organic stuff is what you got to get better at. So making the investment and getting better at keyword research is going to help you long term, because then your listings will show up. Running your listings through Pingler or Ping Farm will help you over time, so you can get more traffic and more traction on your listings. Sharing your listings on social media will help you over time. If you don't have a lot of money, do the cheap stuff, do the free stuff first, and do as much of that as possible. So be intentional about getting better at creating better listings, so then that way you can organically be found. So these are all activities. Write them down, put them under the appropriate column. Which ones apply to you? Some of them may not apply to you, again, depending on your e-commerce method. Some may not. So then after we go through that process, next on the list is that we're going to organize that brain dump. And we're going to talk about which days make sense to do these activities. And then we may also think about, in the next step of this process, what time or when we should do them. So for some of these activities, morning, afternoon, and evening, breaking it down by morning, afternoon, and evening makes sense. For others, having a dedicated time makes a whole lot more sense. So if you're working on building time blocks, setting time for each one of these activities makes sense. So that's where this whole sheet 2 or tab 2 of your Google spreadsheet, if you click on tab 2, now in tab 2, you can go ahead and fill in the stuff that goes in your time block. Okay? So fill in tab 2, the stuff that goes in your time block, and use that to help you build your template. So you've now figured out which day of the week makes sense. You know, going out and doing product research on Wednesdays when you're actually going to Bible study doesn't make sense. Or, sorry, going out and doing sourcing on Wednesdays may not make sense. It may make sense if you do that on your way back home from Bible study, depending on when Bible study is over. Maybe stopping in the store for 30 minutes or an hour makes sense. Okay. And can you source in 30 minutes? Absolutely. You can do focus sourcing, because if you do the product research before you go out and you know which stores have the product that you're looking for, you literally can make an intentional decision and go into the store, get that specific thing, and come straight out. You don't have to be all day at the store, just so you know. I used to do that all the time. So start organizing your brain dump by looking at when you can do these things, when it makes sense to do them, fill in the things that you already do and when you already do them, and then start sorting out the rest of it. And try to put it in a spot where you feel like naturally your body is not going to fight you as much as you work to implement a new routine, a new habit in your life. Uh, it may make sense to do your sourcing right after your product research activity. Um, and it may make sense to do it later, again, depending on what your method of e-commerce is. So then the next activity here is, again, to think about those goals that we talked about at the beginning. We talked about mini habits or mini goals, habit stacking or routines. We talked about time blocks. We talked about checklists and to-do lists. And we also talked about SMART goals. So some of the activities or actions you're going to be writing down are going to fit in those categories. Which ones make sense for the upcoming week? Where do they go? And what makes sense? So next on this journey is we're going to populate the information from that weekly template that we sort of that we're building out. We're going to populate all that information into the weekly template, build it out, which is tab 2. Or we can use the weekly planning section of our e-commerce planner. That might be where we do that activity or action. So we can go into the weekly planning section and do it there. In addition to using that, the one thing you need to keep in mind as you build this template out, because you're going to have a lot of things on the template. After you've built this template out, you're going to allow yourself a little bit of grace and mercy. We're going to execute this new schedule, this weekly schedule. We're going to try it on, this template, for at least 2 to 3 weeks and see how it fits, how it works, how it flows. There's going to be bumps in the road. And there's going to be adjustments you're going to make. But over time, you'll find the template that works best for you, that's sustainable for you. If it's not sustainable, if there's just too many disruptions, what you could do is you could say, okay, this particular template works for me in this season, but it will not work for me when school starts. It will not work for me
when baseball season starts. It will not work for me when whatever is coming up. So it may not work for you during Q4. So you may have multiple weekly templates that you use as a guide for driving what you're going to be doing in your business. And that will help you again to sustain the productivity that you're working to sustain in your business. So go through, build out that weekly template, and you've gotten the first part of this done. So congratulations. So let me reset the room real quick because I've been talking for about an hour. My name is Nicole Whitlock, and I'm with Ecom Sellers. My passion is helping people on their e-commerce journey. If that is you, I am happy to help you on your journey. You can schedule a free 20-minute coaching session by going to ecomsellers.com, clicking on freebies, and scheduling a free 20-minute coaching session. If you would like to a little more help, a little more support on your journey, you can join Ecom Sellers Academy. It's $17.99 a month, or you can pay for the lifetime. If you pay for the lifetime, you get a free ecom planner. If you pay for the monthly subscription, you're going to get 10 free retail arbitrage and online arbitrage leads to help you go make money right now. You'll get 10 wholesale supplier leads every single week. And again, you're getting the retail and online arbitrage leads every week as well. You'll gain access to our library of over 200 training videos. You'll also gain access to our membership site and our Facebook group. In addition to that, you'll join our live weekly Q&A and our live weekly training sessions where we talk about what's working now in e-commerce. So I hope that helps you. Join those. And then if you haven't already done so, grab the My Ecom Planner. It was created for sellers by sellers. It's the ultimate e-commerce planner, and it is designed to help you to make progress in your e-commerce business. So help you to get organized, structured, focused in your e-commerce business. Now that we have our weekly template, these are the actions or activities we're going to be doing in our business every single week. Now we're going to take that weekly template and we're going to build our actual schedule. The actual schedule is all the what. So, what are the things that we're going to be sourcing this week? What is the product research we're going to be doing? Like, what are the products that we're going to be doing product research on? Or maybe the category, or the topic, or whatever. What are we going to be listing this week? What are the things that we're going to be shipping this week? What? So we're going to get specific. We're going to get even more granular than we did before. You're like, oh my gosh. So again, making those intentional decisions, you're working to become $1 million seller. So you have to be intentional about the things that you do in your business. Again, initially, you're going to go against the grain. Like your body's going to fight it. Your mind's going to fight it. There's always going to be something that's either going to be a disruption, interruption, or an excuse that's going to be something that you're going to do, maybe not, that will cause you not to get through the schedule. The goal is to get back up on that horse every single day, every single week, and to do it again and again and again until it becomes second nature. That's the goal. So let's talk about when we go through our actual schedule, we're going to copy that format for our weekly schedule: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. On the other side, if you're doing time blocks, then you're going to have a time block for every hour. I would not recommend doing 30 minutes because if you've never done time blocking before, you will might be overwhelmed by trying to control everything you do every 30 minutes. And I'm not going to say you're going to be perfect at trying to control everything you do every hour, because you're not. Your body doesn't want control. Your mind doesn't want control. Your business is like, I don't want any control. But again, making intentional controlled decisions is actually going to help you in your business. So we're going to make those intentional decisions. We're going to take intentional action every day. So looking at the actual that you're building out, when you look at Monday, and you wrote down maybe product research, what are the products you're going to be doing research on, or the category, or the whatever it happens to be. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example of product research for maybe the movies. Maybe you're going to start today or start next week, and you're going to invest Monday, Wednesday, Friday in product research, and you're going to do product research for at least an hour Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So that's 3 hours of product research. I'm not saying that's enough time. I'm just saying hypothetically, this is the schedule. So if you're doing that, and we're doing product research on movies that are upcoming movies, So what are the things that normally come out with these upcoming movies where there's toys, there's games, there's, the figurines, there's going to maybe be backpacks and lunch boxes and pencils and pens and notebooks and socks and jackets and hats and I could go on and on, barrettes and they go in your hair and there's all kinds of products. So let's think about that. Posters that go on the wall. There's so much for upcoming movies. If you are able to sell those particular products, some of them will be licensed, some of them will not be licensed. For your platform, they may or may not, be happy with that. But putting down product research for the things that are going to be in demand. So there's going to be some movies that are potentially going to be in more demand than others. Like Sonic the Hedgehog and Minions and what is it, Thor, God of Love and Thunder, I think, something like that. All of these movies are coming out, and there's going to be a whole other series of movies. And then you think about some of these are sequels. So the great thing about sequels is you've already got data. You've already got data. What were the things that they put out for the sequels for the first Thor, or for the first, Marvel movies, for maybe the Avengers? You could use that as an outline or a guide. So you already know, okay, for these movies, they put out these things. Minions. There's a whole bunch of stuff that they publish from Minions. Like they not published, but that they created or put out from Minions. Same thing for Sonic the Hedgehog. So go through that process and start doing that product research. Well, what were all the products? Because more than likely these same products are going to come out. And here's a hint. Some of those products were already out because we were in a pandemic. These movies had already published what was coming out and when it was coming out. So I can guarantee you, last year, a whole bunch of the Minions stuff was already on the shelves last year because the Minions movie was supposed to already come out. But because we were in a pandemic, a lot of the studios pushed back. Well, the toy manufacturers had already made the toys, so they were already on the shelves. So this, again, you may have a leg up on some of this stuff. Some of these things are going to come back and be popular. Some people were smart enough to go ahead and buy some of that inventory, get it in advance so that they could potentially be able to sell it, get it at a discount. Because again, the stores had to clear the shelves and make more space for stuff that's coming up. The other thing, let me just tell you this, as a retail arbitrager, because I do it all, but retail arbitrage, I will tell you the pattern about retail arbitrage is they're going to have a period where they start cleaning the shelves again in all the stores. Cleaning the shelves again in all the stores is going to help you. Like it's going to actually help you to be able to come up with products to source. So clearing the shelves, an example of that, clearing the shelves is they're going to probably do it around August, maybe the end of July or whatever. They've got to make space for all the back to school stuff that they're going to start putting out at the end of June. Watch me when I say that. End of June, back to school is going to start showing up in the shelves, period. Okay, it is. And in some states, it might be the middle of July, but it's going to start showing up end of June, middle of July. And across the United States, it's just a thing. It happens every year. The second thing is that they got to make space in lawn and garden. So they're going to start clearancing some of that stuff so that they can bring in all the toys that are coming in for Q4. All those toys are going to start showing up in August and September. They're already going to be back there. Christmas trees are already going to be here. Christmas trees will be ready and they'll start putting up the displays in October. So again, the toys have already started showing up. They got to clearance out all of the lawn and garden so they can make space for all these toys. And then, so that means that they got to sell toys so they can have space on the shelves for the toys. So it's a cycle over and over again. And this is really prevalent in like some of the smaller mom and pops. When you think about your Walgreens and you think about your CVS's, they don't have a lot of real estate. They don't have a lot of space. So my point is, I sort of went down a rabbit hole. So let me just get out the rabbit hole. My point is there's a cycle to this stuff. And even if you're not doing retail arbitrage, you could use that information to help you make decisions for wholesale. They can help you make decisions for private label, help you make decisions for bundles, help you make decisions for print on demand, because you know what the cycle is and you know when this crap is going to be out there. And so you can start getting ideas and be inspired by stuff that you see actually in the stores. So I hope that helps you. That's just an example. But anyway, I digress. Just 1 second. I've got to blow my nose. All right. So allergies, I hate allergies. So when I say product research, what are you going to be researching? That I just went down that rabbit hole. When it comes to listing, what are you going to be listing? So what are those things? Are you going to go ahead and start creating your listings for products that you're potentially going to be selling for Prime Day? Yeah, maybe. What are you going to be shipping? Do you have shipments coming in from China? Do you have shipments coming in from other suppliers in Mexico or India or Taiwan or whatever? And so you got to check those things in, audit them, and get them labeled and shipped back off to your warehouses. Okay, maybe. Or maybe the shipments are going directly to them, and then so you just follow up with those suppliers just to make sure everything is good to go and everything is labeled and ready. Um, but those are the whats. What are you going to be sourcing? Where are you going to be sourcing from? So where are you going to be sourcing from, and what are the things you're sourcing? So you have your replenishables. Maybe those things that around this time of the year last year you want to start selling again. You want to go out there and go get them. You know that they're in Walmart or they're in whatever store you go to, or they're on whatever website. Go get those, source those things. Go get them. Go buy them. What are you going to be learning? So being intentional. Next week is the first partial week of the month of June. The following week is the first full week of June. So what are you going to be learning? What are you going to invest time in? What do you think is going to move the needle for you for the rest of the year and also for Q4? What do you got to get better at? What on the administrative tasks? What are the things you need to be focusing on? So you're coming to the end of Q2. So quarterly reporting might be something you start thinking about. Maybe, I don't know. What are the administrative tasks that you feel like you need to look at next week? So you might need to look at your monthly reports. You might need to look at your budget. Maybe you need to work on creating a new budget. So that might be an activity that you engage in next week. Then on your personal front, when it comes to your spiritual journey, or maybe your personal, your financial, your health and fitness, your family and household, what are those activities you got to do next week? So is VBS next week, Vacation Bible School, for those who don't know what VBS is. Like, are you taking your kids to VBS, and how's that going to impact your schedule next week? Are you taking the car to go get inspected because the following week you're going on vacation, you got a road trip? Are you needing to go get your passports renewed because in July you guys are going on a cruise? Like, what are the things that you need to be doing in order to continually make progress in your business? So go through, what are those actions, what are those activities? And then the other thing is, what's on your personal schedule, what's on your business schedule, personal online schedule, personal work online work schedule, and your online business schedule. What are those things? So go look at that schedule for next week, because you need to be mindful of those activities and actions. Last but not least, the last week of next week is like the last couple of days of May. You got Tuesday. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. May is over. So are there things that you need to get done in the month of May? You only have 3 days to do that. You have today and 3 days. So write those things down as you build out your next week's schedule. These are things that have to be done in the month of May. These are the whats. And you're going to use that actual schedule to help you in your daily activities in your business when you participate in the daily planning session. So you're literally just going to open up your planner, and you're going to go to that day, and you already have a schedule pre-built for you, telling you exactly what you're doing, the what. So the template tells, kind of gives a guide, but the daily schedule, you can extract that directly from the actual, so you know exactly what you need to be doing in your business every single week to move the needle and to make progress. So the great thing about the downloadable document is there's some fake schedules that are in there, and the fake schedules are just there for you to use that to help you to continually make progress in your business and in your personal life. So use that as an outline to maybe build a template. And then from the template, you're going to fill in the actual what you're going to be doing. What are you sourcing? What are you listing? What are you, because again, creating listings in advance, I'll give you an example. If you create or save drafts of your listings in advance, because you're in the habit of creating a listing every single day. And so, and I'm not just saying one singular one, like maybe you're probably doing 10 a day, but in any case, you're creating listings every single day. Some of the platforms need you or require you in order for you to take care of the algorithm so you can continue to get regular sales and get regular views is you got to list every single day. Well, when you go on vacation, if you're gone for a whole week, you're not going to be able to list every day, are you? Nope. So this may be an opportunity for you to say, okay, I'm going to create 20 products, templates for 20 products, or drafts for 20 products or 30 products or whatever, so that next week while I'm on vacation, I can just release them every single day. They're already created, they already exist. And that way I can satisfy the requirement of the platform where it is wanting me every single day to create a listing in order for me to maintain my bestseller status or whatever, or to maintain the fact that I'm getting a sale every single day. You don't want to disrupt uh, the platform if you can help it. So making sure that you can access the ability to release those listings, one listing at a time or two listings every single day, from your mobile device. You can do that while you're on vacation. I mean, before the kids get up, first thing in the morning, get your coffee, go log into your account on your phone, and then release two listings. You're done for the day. You literally have listed today. It's over. So something to think about as you go through the summer and you build out your summer schedule and your routine. So I hope this information is helpful. Go download the document, the weekly planning document. Use that to help you to make intentional decisions in your business, because I believe that incremental improvements in your business implemented over time will actually reshape your business. It will. It will reshape your future business, but you have to do it on a consistent basis. So you should be intentional every single day in everything that you do in your business. Plan for your future success story. I'm excited about your journey. I'm excited about what's going to happen in your business, and I'm excited for you. So I hope you use this information. I hope it's a blessing to you and your business and your journey. And my wish for you is that you have a successful, highly productive, highly focused, and I guess fun, exciting day. With that, we'll say goodbye for now. Bye, guys.
It's the pie part. Hey, Mama.